Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo Channel. I almost didn't make it. I got caught up on a debate on Facebook. We were talking about how color has changed, like how there used to be cars in America that were all different colors, right? Like it looked like Skittles, like a bag of Skittles when you looked at a freeway from high up in a building. Now it's all gray. You walk into a restaurant, the colors again, it's like blah. Everything is gray, everything is brown, everything creates wants you to create the illusion that everything's expensive, right? So when you walk into Taco Bell and it's all brown and neutral with really nice like wrought iron light fixtures, well, they're trying to create the illusion. And the illusion is that it's okay that you're paying like $5 for a taco that you used to pay $1 for. You know what I mean? It's the illusion, it's a gaslight. And so people said, I feel like there's a psychological thing. And I said, yeah, there's a spiritual war happening. And so spiritual war is really when we're talking about, the war on consciousness to make you perceive that you don't have enough, that there's something wrong, that you need something outside of you for fulfillment, that you need to change. Again, the magician tarot card tells us that we're born with everything that we need. That's the magician. So when you get that, it's like, hey, everything that you need. And you might be saying, I don't. I don't have enough. I'm living that reality. There's no money coming in. And the spirit says, my plan's better than yours. So what you're used to could be perception. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's that there's many different realities that play at one time. The key is to be grateful and happy where you are, which is challenging because a lot of times we're not. And we're not because we have good reason. But Spirit says a lot of the spiritual war that's happening is relying on what you perceive, because what you perceive is going to create that emotion and anger and resentment, keep us in a lower energy. And then we're open to those type of negative spirits, right? So if we're not like fully embodied in the energy of God, the energy of source, then we tend to be an open vessel. And we're an open vessel because we're trying to figure things out, and you can't really figure things out by what the world is telling you. Your habits and behaviorisms are going to be built on the environments. So that's why it's really important when you're in a relationship with someone to know, first of all, are you healed enough? Because if you're not, you're going to attract people that are in alignment with that energy, not because you're deserving. See, we get the story of who we think we are. Then there's a real story of who we truly are. And you say, why does that happen? And God says, for my glory, you wouldn't have a relationship with me. Your relationship happens from your transformational process. It's also a spiritual walk that unfolds while you're on it. So it's a faith walk. So when you're trying to figure things out in advance and it's based on what you know and what you've lived, well, you're always going to come up short. You're always going to feel like there's something wrong with you because the world is designed to make you perceive that. Again, because we have different classes, we have people that want to be dictators. We have people of on all different consciousnesses. So we have to come from a place of discernment. So man is made up of half dust, half deity. The deity part of self is God part of self that you and I are connected to. So you again have psychic energy yourself. You are psychic. However, when you're in a relationship, a lot of times that energy just, you're like, I can see for other people, I can't see for myself. And spirit says, yeah, because your emotions get in the way. So one way for us to actually heal is to do shadow healing. So these readings are all about healing. Yes, we look about your relationship because we want to know that. That's why we're here. However, God says, well, I want you to be here so that you heal the effects of your trauma, so that you stop attracting certain people, so that you want more. Because when you change, whoever you're connected to, they automatically change whether they want to or not. It's the dynamic within your connection that makes things play out. And if you don't play along, well, again, you change the dynamic. Or you could say, well, I got nothing before and I'm still not getting anything. Well, if the person wants to stay where they pretend that they don't have any feelings, well, you know that they have feelings, because they wouldn't have no feelings. They're not emotionally intelligent. So we always look at your wounds, because again, once you integrate them, you heal. Now you also have to always do something with that energy. So we look at the transmutation process, the whole alchemizing process, because again, turning pain into power is not, just, oh, well, I just did. No, it's a natural process. It's an alchemy process that helps you change to see a different reality for yourself, especially if you're like, I just feel stuck. I just feel stuck in the same scenarios, the same situations, the same experiences that take me actually further away from God, take me away from everyone, because I hate this version of myself. And it's like, but I know that it can't be the true version of myself. And that's the best way to start to realize, if you're not liking your life, that it's that you're looking at things through a distorted perception. And I'm not saying that you didn't live experiences that were in alignment with that. What I'm saying is like, that's, again, you get the story of who you think you are, then there's a real story of who you truly are, because God doesn't make broken. You're not here by mistake. You're here by God's design. So you have purpose. A lot of people don't feel like they have purpose. Good morning, Debbie. So, it's to understand that we always have to start where we are, especially if you need healing. So whatever the stories that play out within the reading, you know, don't take offense. Again, we have to understand why things are happening. We also want to integrate, and then I want you guys to ask questions. If you really want to heal, you can ask questions. Might not be able to get to them to the end of the channel, because I can't channel and go back and forth. Some people I think can, but I can't, because my gift really doesn't come from reading the cards. It comes from that connection to the higher self, which means my mind is preoccupied. It's again, it'll be psychic, but it's not going to be very good at reading and being grounded while I'm in that energy. All right. Let's see. Again, the readings have a therapy style to them to help you understand. So we always start by looking at what is the underlying energy. When you're dealing with a person or a situation that, there's a shadow or a block, a lot of times the energy that's being presented to you is not the energy that the person really truly feels. Again, they're creating the illusion. You're not, the problem is you don't live that reality. That person's in their mind when a person does that, right? Because they're acting a certain way based on, a lot of times, not who you are, but experiences that they've lived. So they're in that reality when you're in a different reality, and you're like, why do they do what they do? Because the people come from their trauma. We see things as we are, not as how they really are. So it's important to remember that when you're dealing with, people that have fragmentation, right? Where they've detached, disassociated from the trauma. So let's see. Again, light. Ooh, I like this energy. You know why? Because it's like, well, you might be in a place right now where you're like, I'm just staying in my own lane. I'm ignoring everyone, and I'm focused on myself. That is it. So that connection to God is actually through what you're doing, right? It's where you give and receive of love. And where do we put our love? It's our attention, our time, our energy, our focus, our money. Where does it go? And Spirit says, well, for the first time, you're actually in this energy of light. It's not that you weren't always tried to be a positive person or a nice person, but possibly nice to other people, but not so nice to you by not giving yourself enough. So it's almost like I feel like you're floating above negative energy because there's people around you that would want to bring you down. So you're trying to manifest something for yourself. And I say that because light is our energy of God. That's the energy, love and light. That light, right? See your light, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine again. That's the underlining energy, which is source. Where you might be like, I'm really alone, and what God is saying is, you're not alone. I'm with you. So that's the energy, like almost like light is encasing you. So it's not that there is not negative energy being projected at you, but you may not be feeling it. It's not influencing you at a time. It would have influenced you. Again, because there's a lot of people around you that want your energy. And at one point, maybe you were even a little bit emotionally needy where you were the giver. You were the doer, you were the giver. So it's almost like you're changing. So if you're finding that you're by yourself right now, God says you're not alone, but I do a lot of your healing when we're alone. And so you might be in like nothing's happening. And I really don't feel like going out, and I really don't feel like connecting. And Spirit says that you're right where you're supposed to be. So when you're like kind of isolating, think of the hermit, right? What does the hermit do? They go into isolation to heal, to reflect, to figure out what they want. And it is kind of a little bit of a lonely time, but because you're doing the work, you're out of bullshit. You're being protected is what the energy is. So it's very spiritual energy right now. So again, can we come down a little bit, Spirit? It's like we're going to go to the, spiritual wounds after, but can we understand what this person feels? Let's move into that energy right away. And then we can backtrack and get back to the spiritual energy, right? I mean, I want to know what this person feels. And it's like you're floating above it. So I am grateful for the spiritual lesson. Like Spirit's like, all right, we're still going to bring it back to the spiritual energy. You see, sneaky. So that is, I feel like this person never felt like they could have a connection. They never had a connection. Usually this person gets mad, and when they get mad, they can dispose of people, meaning like, I'm not going to think about you anymore. And they really thought, well, I don't fall in love because nothing really affects me. It's no, this person has lived a lot of trauma where they detached. And so when there's so much detachment like that, we disassociate from the emotion, and there's just a numbing feeling where the person's like just been in fight, flight, freeze. So there's almost like a sense of feeling dead a little bit inside. And that happens from, being betrayed over and over and over again. And so Dad's saying that this person didn't betray you. Hurt people. Remember, they're going to bleed all over you. This is not what this is saying. This is almost like this is what the person's saying. Wow, like you really are like something special. Because if you're floating above it and you're the energy of light, that's what this person is envisioning. That's what they're seeing. Right? Sorry. I left you before you could leave me. So it's almost like I feel like this person went ghost because they knew they couldn't live up to your standard. They knew if they let you in that it was going to be a game over. Like, because, when a person has intimacy issues, that it's because they've gotten hurt. And then there's this sense of not really knowing who they are, having this numbness because we're not our trauma. So it's like this person gets freaked out by the depth of the spiritual connection. So though they're grateful for the lesson, it's what flipped them out. It's what triggered them, because it's like, what, you have some sort of power over me? What do you think, I care? And I feel like they played a lot of the same tricks that they tried to play with other people, and that you didn't fall for it. So it made this person have to sit in their energy because they like to win. They like to win. So trying to win, trying to like finagle you to like get you to submit to them, because it's not like they didn't want a relationship. They just wanted it on their terms, which would have been, fucked up terms. And we all know that no one wants a one-sided relationship. No one's walking into that. You were the best thing in my life. I told you, it's like, but you don't know what you got till it's gone. And so again, all this trauma has made this person believe that they can't have a relationship. That's what they perceive. But is that true? No, they sabotage the connection. So it was the core belief that ran the show, and that's why this is like a very spiritual, like, relationship, because spirit says that the person needed to learn. I don't want anyone on the physical plane thinking that they're not wanted, that they're not loved, that they can't have a successful relationship, that they don't feel. Those things were created, meaning those relationships of the past were created on inner child wounds. So it's like we're born into families, situations, and experiences. And if there's no spiritual help, well, the brain, the analytical mind is going to take over and say, well, it's because you're stupid, because you can't have that. Why would you think that you could have that? It never works out for you. It's like this person, and there was a sense of, well, you could really hurt them because, hey, they really have feelings, but not being able to process those feelings. I'm starting to understand our connection. I feel like this spirit said I had to put them in a situation that they could not logic themselves out of. The survival mind is the analytical mind. What I see is what I know, is what I believe, just the facts. I don't want to know anything else. But that's not who we are. We're spiritual beings having human experiences. What are we here for? To learn that we're not separate from our creator. Well, what is our creator? Well, it's prana, it's chi, it's the air that we breathe, it's what gives us life. It's an energy that makes us supernatural. It's the energy of unconditional love, which is, I don't know why I just have that feeling for that person. It's like I can't stay mad. It's like I can't control. It makes me submit. That's the energy of God. When we again surrender, it brings us to a place of spiritual equilibrium. And that only happens when a person's like in survival, where they're creating so many bad experiences for themselves, they can't get out of their own way. And it's because of what they feel about themselves. So, again, of course, this person sabotaged the connection. It's like, but they had to be put in a timeout long enough to reflect. This person normally doesn't care, so they normally don't reflect. And that's again, but spirit says, well, I'm not gonna lie. I have to make it kind of, they're not, it's not like, oh, they want to do the healing. I'm not gonna lie, God says they don't want to do the healing, but they want sex. They want passion. They want that connection. They want you to make them feel good. They want you to make them feel important. They want you, again, they want. It's not like they don't want it. It's like they don't believe that they can have it, where they can have anything that they want, but they need to choose the way that they do. So many things remind me of you. And that's because the more that I try not to think about you, the more that I think about you. Because God says, well, you can't control me. And I'm the energy of unconditional love. See, you wouldn't know what unconditional love was because you don't even love yourself, So I had to take the wheel. I had to put Jesus on that, because this person, they don't know how to drive. They we see what's going on here. They keep driving off the cliff, and now they're like, well, it's never going to work out. So God says, well, I had to bring someone into your life. Now you say, so what? It's all about them. It's all about them. What about me? What about me? And Spirit says, well, you grew up in a family, and that family probably taught you a lot of things that weren't true about who you are. So I got to bring someone to awaken all those little wounds inside of you. So I'm getting you the IKEA Christmas tree. Yes, you have to put it together yourself. That's the equivalent of this person, the IKEA version. You're not getting like the Raymore and Flanagan. You're not getting that, and you're not getting the other. You're getting the put together, and you're like, why am I getting that? And the Spirit says, because you have wounds. He was like, of course. He was like, what do you think? You're perfect? You're not down here. You're down here to learn. This person's learning, and you both have to unlearn a lot. God said, so I had to get involved. That's why. Oh, you're not going to like this story. It makes you mad. Well, that's what triggers that come up will do. To look at it. You have to look. Understand that our love will manifest through the union of heart and mind. Expand these areas allows our love to grow. So again, the heart and mind. So when the heart and mind don't agree, that's really what it is. It's like too much analytical mind from the experiences that you lived. So it could have been a lot of fear, right? And then the heart is just, we know, is through love. And so Spirit's saying that your energy of vibing at a high vibration is allowing you to actually expand these areas, not just for you, but for this person. Because whether they want to or not, they're like watching you because they're attracted to you, and they're like you were a good thing, and we could have really made it work out, and I'm seeing things from a different perspective. I'm starting to understand this relationship. I feel crazy though, because again, they're like, I've never experienced anything like it before. And so, I mean, this journey is teaching us one of the most important spiritual lessons, patience. And so that's going to take a long time, especially when the person feels that the feelings are overwhelming and they become afraid and they run from it. So it's a process. It's not a one and done. It almost looks like a kid that's trying to learn how to ride the bicycle. They get on it, they go a few feet, they fall off. They go a few feet, they fall off. I mean, healing's a process. It's like peeling an onion. So it's not like this person doesn't have feelings for you. But what Spirit is saying is, you both need more healing. That's why you're in separation. That's number one. Number two, and you might say, I don't even want to be with this person anymore. And you're going to feel that way because, hey, they did things, because they're at a lower vibration. That's why we looked and really said, well, where are they, before we even look at all this other spiritual shit? It's like, what do they feel? And are they regretful? And the answer is yes and yes. But does that mean that they're emotionally intelligent enough to tell you? No. And is that going to trigger the shit out of you? Yes, because it symbolizes something that you need healing within yourself. And so there's other things, because when we're whole, you don't really care. When you're happy, like let's just say you're connected to this person and you love this person and you want them to act on an emotional level, and they don't. And so it triggers all the wounds that you already have. So it makes you really angry. But Spirit says, but if you're vibing at the highest vibration, let's just say you come into like $1 million and then get the job of a lifetime, and you're around all these different people and get all these opportunities, you wouldn't care. You'd be like, whenever. It's like, because what you'd say is, I'm content. My glass is full without you. And that's the thing, when you're in the energy of light, where you're finally pouring into yourself, because that's how this reading started. Well, it's like you're doing that. That's what's making this person like be so attracted to you. Hey, daily downloads. So, it's not like there isn't. There is. It's just the vibration isn't high enough. Where because this person still needs healing. So we have to look at your healing. Because does it mean that they're not going to come back? No, I feel like they're going to eventually come back because eventually people surrender to what they can't control when it's love. It's like, because it's like, well, I just have to see, even if it's too late. That you might be like, it's too late. It's like that's their karma. Spirit says, I don't really care. They already learned the lesson. But did you learn the lesson? Because it's never a one-sided thing is what I'm trying to get at. So you may say like, oh, this person's not going to do anything. And it's like, they're doing their process. They're healing. Again, their heart is opening to love and guiding them back to you. Spirit says, all right, fine. It's again, but it's a slow process. They're on a donkey that has 3 legs. So again, very slow process. It's like the IKEA brand. So Spirit says that you need healing during this time. And so you may be frustrated because you might say, well, nothing is going. Nothing is going. It's not like it's that, like, not, it's Spirit says, oh, it's going. It's just, again, teaching you patience. Again, teaching you. And so we have to say, well, what are the inner child wounds? What are the wounds? What are we supposed to do with this energy? Because it's again that what, like, because anger, we have to do something with that anger. Otherwise, you're going to rip somebody's head off. Because again, there's these triggers that are supposed to be happening now so that you could release, so you become a clear conduit for spirit to work through. Those spiritual blocks, they hold stress in the body, there's stress in the mind, and they have to go. They're outdated. The spirit saying, so I always bring you the best person for the job. You'll be like that person. And spirit says, unfortunately, there's only 2 energies, love and fear. And I don't care whether there's a little fear or a lot of fear. Even if there's a little fear, guess what? It's great if I bring something that's really going to be like, oh, so like trigger you, because I know for a fact that that energy is going to get cleared. Because it's really, that's what it is. It's the shadows. Ooh, you see that? How that flipped over there? Isolation. um, you know what I mean? So it's to understand why things are happening. Abuse, nurturing, magic, cleansing, oppression. Well, we see why. I mean, the inner child wounds. We see also a lot of healing energy that you hold. That you have a lot of gifts, spiritual gifts, which is possibly why this is a very spiritual reading, because on a logical, analytical level, it might not resonate, but you would resonate completely if you grew up in abuse, because a child that survives thrives. There's detachment, there's disassociation. It's like there was trauma there, and it was not just trauma where you weren't nurtured, but you were actually oppressed. So there's parts of you that's fragmented that you don't even know who you are, is what spirit says. You know what you like and what you don't like, but from a limited thing, because someone kept you down. Children have to go out and play. They get their own ideas. But if you always had a parent that said, oh, that didn't help feed it or promote it or belittled you, because again, here we see psychological, emotional, and even spiritual abuse, because this kid's banged up. It's like that's oppression. That's, I'm gonna keep you down, and not like this person's foot is on the head. And actually, when there was other children around, if they did that, having a parent watch and not come to your defense, traumatizing, not feeling safe, not feeling protected, not feeling loved, not feeling wanted, not feeling, that's all psychic trauma, psychological trauma. It's like no one's going to see the bruises. but they're there. And spirit says, because what you don't know, you're like, well, what I don't know, I don't really miss. But spirit says, yeah, but if there's only three pieces of candy in the candy jar and they're all crappy, but like it's like, well, guess what? You're in the wrong candy jar. It's like you can move, you can change because there's a lot of other things. Because when you have a love affair with yourself by going out and finding other passions, hobbies, interests, you meet other people, and that's where God makes a way where there is no way just for you. It opens up your third eye, it opens up your imagination. So you're able to manifest, because how do you manifest? Through the thoughts that you think, the emotions that you have. So you're actually embodying the energy, because the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. And if you can imagine it, you can create it. And you have the Holy Spirit inside of you. So it commands the universe, because the universe works through God's command, because God created the world with its voice. So it brings you what you need, but only when the student is ready. And so you don't know your path because you're not in charge of the path, because that's where your healing takes place. That's where your transformation takes place, because you find new versions of yourself, but you were oppressed. So God's saying, like, there's not, like, you're more than what you think you are. And I'm trying to show you that it's not because you were a bad person, but because you were oppressed. You were made to feel that you were something that you're not. And because of that, you attract people that bring that trauma to you. So again, what did I say? It's not just like integration. We have to transmute that negative energy. Otherwise, hey, that's still there. And spirit says, yeah, into your own healing by yourself. Always feeling by yourself. Again, not feeling loved, made to feel like there was something wrong with you. Again, because of how this environment treated you, spirit says that's going to create major wounds, not partial wounds, but major wounds that block you. So that's why you're getting the brand, right? And the IKEA brand is not a great brand. So, anger and resentment, we're going to like pull like this. And then karmic blockages. I'll read it all at the end, like needing to release rejections, where I feel like gossip and slander, and identity issue. So here it is like when we look at the wounds, we see how did it play out. Well, again, part of oppression is not just holding you down, but I feel like people like gossip, they slandered your name to create that gaslight, right? So people treated you, and it could have been your mom that treated you bad, and that made your siblings not really treat you with respect, not really treat you, as someone close to you. They created that illusion to make you feel a certain way. So that gaslight, which I believe is what really created the identity issue, because what then shows up is like uncertainty about who you are. And so when that happens, we're not going to like who we are. We're also going to feel like we don't have a place in the world. We're not going to be connected to the physical body, the physical world. So we see a bad root chakra imbalance. And that root chakra is your connection to mother and father, your connection to the earth, your connection to God. So your connection to money and all physical currencies of the physical world, there can be a block in. And then you also have blocks then in all the other chakras, because what created support wasn't there. So Spirit's saying is it wasn't you, it was because you grew up in that type of environment. And so that it's like the Spirit saying you don't really know 100% who you are. You judge through past experiences, and that's because, hey, that's what you lived. The karmic blockages will show up as like just repeated patterns of struggle, conflict, and unhealed emotional wounds that follow you across lifetimes. And it's because and they play out within your relationship, career, and growth to make you feel a certain way again. So you were born into that. Like you were born into a spiritual covenant. When you're born into a spiritual covenant, you take spiritual vows. So let's just say it's like I hate this person, because obviously you would if you were being abused every day and you were terrified, which was the environment. Well, then what winds up happening is you don't really know who you are because you grew up in survival mode. You weren't going out and playing, you weren't finding yourself. So the karmic blockages is, "Well, I don't have any other life to reflect on." Remember, what runs the show is the subconscious mind. We can rewire the subconscious mind by doing new things, by being around new people and new experiences, but then by also doing like the healing modalities that need to be done, like cognitive therapy and, shadow healing. Like, really, it's not just a one-sided thing, though. When you were born into this type of trauma, you inherited it. So there's, again, these negative spirits that you need to be delivered from. Because what happens is that there was no connection to mother, father, but to God. And so understand, you were an empty vessel as a child because you weren't taught. You weren't born into a family that taught you. And so there was no tools. So you just felt like, I'm not safe. And a child that doesn't feel safe is going to continually come from a place of limitation, is always going to come from a place of not knowing who they are, feeling like not connected to the world, and feeling like they can't have what they want, when spirit says you can have what you want. It's like, but, having people like project their negative shit onto you, there's a part of you then believes that you're that. It shows up as confusion and self-doubt, and feelings of often come from like internalizing that someone else's shame, someone else's blame over time. And so again, this inherited karmic covenant is what is playing out, and this is like what negative spirits attach to. So when you say, I've healed, I've done so much healing, but if you haven't done deliverance healing, then you're still an empty vessel where those, you have to fill yourself up with the Holy Spirit. Otherwise, you like you don't you're not connected to God. It's like you have to, because the devil and all the devil's spirits have no power. They have no power over like somebody that's full of the energy of the Holy Spirit, because it's light and that's too dark, and it doesn't mingle. It flees. It has to flee. It says it in the Bible. It's like, but understand that those negative entities, they roam the earth. We see them, but we don't see them physically. We see the manifestations from it, such as drug addiction, such as like pornography, such as child pedophilia, and all those things. Those are demonic energies. Those are, again, because it terrorizes. There's fear. It takes us out of our true energy. So the silent war is the spiritual warfare that's happening now on the planet. So when you see you're born into like a family that was born into these vows and covenants, understand it's not because they were bad people. They had to live through war, because there's also collective covenants. And that's, where was the blood shed? Where was the persecution? We inherit these karmas, and we're a society that's ignorant to it. And then, but when then we see it show up financially, we see it show up as bad relationships. And that is what makes us feel like we can't have it. And that's what you connected to, because again, you were programmed to think that those things about yourself. We're understanding you've done a lot of work on yourself, but spirit says, but there's still a piece of pizza that's missing. And that's, where's your passion for life? Where's your flavor? It's like your flavor isn't your trauma. It's not that. It's like how are you always growing? How do you have a relationship with me? Because that is through your passion for life, by becoming yourself. And that only happens by leaving your home, by again going out and exploring and pouring into you, so that you actually meet a person that pours into you. Or when this person comes back, they actually say, oh, that's what it looks like. I better like give, because my heart's closed. So, I didn't give anything last time. I better give. I don't exactly know what that looks like. So, because I'm the IKEA brand, so I don't really know what I'm supposed to look like. So, because I'm in pieces over here. So I need to look. Oh, okay. I should look like that. And you're holding the standard to it. Otherwise, you're going to get the same thing, because you can only break the karmic blockages that turn into karmic cycles. And those karmic cycles is just a karmic loop. It's like, it's the same thing, just different person, same thing, just different environment. Like, and so the God says, yeah, because you take yourself with you. That's the problem. So you can't pull it geographical. A lot of alcoholics do that. They're like, I'll just move, like their life changes, and understand it changes for a little while, because there's distraction, spirit says, but nothing changes. We have to change it at the core. And spirit says that's how. And so we have to say, well, how am I supposed to alchemize this energy? Like, is it alchemized if I do that? Like, what am I supposed to do? And sometimes spirit says, don't do anything. I need you to be silent for a little while. Sometimes like it's to do something completely different. Like, we never know. But spirit says, first of all, this was about letting go of who you were to realize who you actually are. And that's what spirit says. You get the story of who you think you are, then there's a real story of who you truly are. You were oppressed. You were made to believe that you were unworthy, that you couldn't have. But again, that was family trauma. You were born into a covenant. And that's because, hey, your great grandfather fought in the war. Did you know that? They had to shed blood, that they suffered from anxiety, that they suffered from trauma. Did you know that? That there was no help? That, hey, these people lived in depression. These people were persecuted for no apparent reason at all. These people like had to watch, their family members get blown to smithereens when their great niece was 2 years old. Like, all these horrible things. God says, you don't think that there's consequences for that? You don't think that the devil is happy with that is creating a spiritual warfare? Yeah, God says there's spiritual war happening right now. So it's, again, be part of the battle by ascending life. You're not those things. You're not who someone told you. You denounce the devil. And you cover yourself with the blood of Jesus Christ. You embody yourself with spirit to make sure that energy can't get you. You denounce it. Again, use your voice, spirit says. That's first and foremost, because you have to break the covenant. You have to be the one. When we say, oh, I broke the karmic chain, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Yeah, like, it's, again, there's still problems underneath there. It's like you have to denounce that energy and fill yourself up with the Holy Spirit. And again, and when you have to use your voice, you have to command it. Like, there's nowhere in any scripture and any dogmatic practice that says to confront the enemy silent by ignoring it. A bully is going to just bully you more. It's like you have to denounce it. It's like, and command it to leave. Because it can't, and you have to fill yourself up with the Holy Spirit. And you have to do that because the devil has to flee from that energy. It has to. And Spirit says, and you realize that this was a stepping stone to help you evolve. So be patient with yourself. It's not when you were born into that environment, you're not going to evolve all at once. Like, oh, I went through awakening and I'm finally healed. No, you're going to awaken a few times, darling, because healing's like, it's an unfoldment process. And sometimes you think that you healed something to only return to it again and be like, I thought I healed that. And it's like, how come it hasn't healed? And Spirit says, because it's, again, as you evolve, you get to see things differently. You get to grow. You get to, again, that's what it is. But be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Again, part of the covenant is how your parents talk to themselves, how your grandparents talk to themselves, how they felt about themselves, what they believed that they could have. This is the spiritual war. Hey, Mr. Wesley, and that's really what it is. And so, spirits, now it's about listening to the whispers of your soul guiding you. Align your actions with your values. You're the one that gets to call the shots. It's you're going to attract all different people, and as you evolve, some of those people that you attract are obviously going to fall out of your life because they're not going to be able to hold to the vibration. Not everyone's on, going where you're going. Some people come in for a day, some for a season, some for a lifetime. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't meet somebody like while you're on your path. You should, is what Spirit says, so that you know your value. It's like if you're just waiting for that one person to come back, it's like where some people do, because they say, well, I don't want anyone else. No one says to want anyone else. We're saying have a love affair with yourself. And you'd be surprised who you attract, how your mood changes. Sometimes we have to fake it till we make it. Healing's a process, and the mind can know, but the body could be like, still don't feel like it. Spirit says if it's a root chakra imbalance, know your adrenal gland is right there. So you might feel tired, lethargic. I don't know. I'm confused. And so the best thing, again, is to go out into the world, explore, because in the quiet time is where Spirit will speak to you. Because you're not so focused on the problem. It's the fact that we've conditioned ourselves to feel like we need to know things before they actually happen, where really you're always protected if you're just in the present moment. But why would we want to be in the present moment? Only if you were having a good time, only if you were in the passion for life, because then you're drawing everything that's in alignment to you like that. You have to teach people how you want to be treated, and it's not through words. A lot of people make the mistake, especially when they were oppressed, when they were, abused. They're like, well, I'm just going to treat you the way I want to be treated. Spirit says, no, treat yourself that way. It's, again, because then you'll give enough. Everybody knows that you're going to be nice to that person. No, you're not going to be nice to that person. It's too much time. It's, again, people that value themselves don't give as much time. You say, I like when they call. Spirit says, yes. But the key is to have something that's not a person that you feel that burst of energy for, that life. Because that's what's going to help you train a person on how you want to be treated, not through words. Because we won't hold to a boundary. Your heart won't allow it. It'd be like, it just became natural. I didn't see what was really there. How did things change? I didn't see. Spirit says too close up to the picture, too fast, too soon. but you wouldn't know because there's a slice of pizza missing out of your pizza. So you actually think that there's only 7 slices, but there's really 8 slices, and that's the issue. One of those slices needs to be your passion, because that's how your third eye opens up. That's how, but you're through the imagination, through that realm is how you manifest with the universe and what inspires it. But if you don't have money, and if you're so upset about what's going on in your life, well, it's going to be damn well impossible to ascend life. The spirit says you have to do that. And we leave off with one more message, and that is a new opening. When one door closes, be confident that another will open, and it will be for your betterment. Accept that life brings challenges and acknowledge the opportunity and learning they present to you. Serenity comes from within. So it's like Spirit is saying, it's like, I don't know whether you're going to be with this person or not. Their intention is that they're coming back. But if you're living life, Spirit says, well, their karma just might be that they lose you. Where understand that's not something that you're like, oh, I want that to happen. You know, Spirit says you don't have a choice who you fall in love with. How do you like them apples? You're not in charge. I am. It's like when you try and choose for me, that's when problems happen, God says. So don't do my job. Do your job. Be like childlike. Go out. Have a love affair with yourself. You have a lot of other options. You like that one, but you don't realize that the candy's been there for about 12 years now, and it's the candy that nobody wanted. It's like, and that's why there's only 3 pieces in there when there's a whole candy jar, and you can have whatever it is that you want. It's like you might be like, I don't want that. And Spirit says that's where your healing needs to take place. It's like right there. And so it'll feel uncomfortable to actually have to go out and have fun. If you were oppressed, because you'll actually want to live safe, where Spirit says that needs to be reconditioned. It's again because ships in the harbor are nice, but that's not what they're made for. And it's like, again, my plan's better than yours. It's a faith walk. And understand it takes time, and you're healing, and it's a process, and it's frustrating because, again, you're judging yourself. And I told you to be gentle with yourself. This is part of breaking the covenant. It's not just about renouncing, it's about actually not being angry and not liking yourself, and actually loving yourself and accepting the process and realizing that you're supported and that you're loved beyond measure, and that everything is happening in divine order, and that, Spirit also says no, that God is always silent when the test is going on. So you may feel like, well, there's nothing going on. The Spirit says, because it's a test. Don't talk while you're supposed to be, again, taking the test. You talk while the lesson. It's again, so you already know what you need to do. You might not like what you need to do because healing doesn't feel good. But God says, but you'll get used to it. And that's the whole thing. You'll come to a place of acceptance. And as you do, you become your true self. And that this person, as though you may love this person now, because this person does love you, it's like you're not going to be the same person. It's like, and that's the whole point. You're not supposed to be. And people can stay very comfortable in energy that needs to be healed because they think it's part of their identity. But God says that's not your identity. I didn't make that. That doesn't go there. It's again, yeah, you put that couch in the corner. It's a plaid couch. Why would you put plaid couch in a modern decor? It's from 1920. It's like, it looks horrible. It's falling apart. You don't even like it. It looks like a sore thumb. It doesn't belong on you. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like something out of place. And God says, I didn't make it. And you're not 100% happy. You've learned to live happy that way. And it's still off. Because God says, because Spirit's inside of you and says, I don't like it. Yeah, they're used to it. They're saying that it's okay. They're gonna wear it like a hat. But I'm suffocating. And God says, it's a no. It's like we don't compromise. We don't dummy down. And we never live from a place of fear. We only live how we're supposed to. And that's the energy of unconditional love. So until next time, be true to you. If anyone has any questions, now ask me. Um, I'll open the floor for a few moments, but if no one is, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try and be on again later. And Debbie, I'll be on for coaching probably tomorrow. Um, I'm finally done with that side hustle. Just so that I was working a side hustle, which I mean, it was fun. Like I got to see the Grinch every day, and I got to like be interactive with like out of towners, but it's kind of a waste of my time, to be honest with you. But I thought, again, I'm trying to make new connections. I'm trying to be more grounded. So all it really did was foul up my schedule, to be honest with you. I thought that it would bring something, but, connections, relationships, you know, which are important. It's not like they aren't, but a lot of times we're called to do something intuitively and we're like, well, I thought that it was going to bring me this, and it brings you something else that you needed, that you're like, well, I didn't really care about that. I really wanted this. And Spirit says, don't do my job. Do your job. And I said, I did do your job. What didn't I listen to my intuition, which is what you told me, and I did it. But what I'm saying is, I thought it would bring a lot more money. It certainly did not. And Spirit says, it's the connections. It's the connections. And it's like, unfortunately, that's really what it is, right? You scratch my back, I scratch yours, whatever the fuck it is. It's like, I don't really like to play that game. That's the issue. I usually like to do things a lot by myself. And God says, healing doesn't feel good. So I'm like, so that's the last time I listen to my intuition when it comes to like having to do something like that. It's like, and Spirit says, no, you'll listen, because again, I'll dangle the carrot and you'll get it, but it's never going to be what you think. It's usually one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing. So we can't judge the process. And that's something that's it. It's hard for me. It's a second chakra imbalance. It means I like to control, instead of going with the flow of life, right? We need to be in the passion for life. I'm in the passion for life, but I also like to control it. You know what I'm saying? So if no one has any questions, I'm going to go. Until next time, be true to you. I'll probably be on again later tonight. I love you guys. If you're celebrating the holiday, Merry Christmas, but I'll be on later, or Happy Kwanzaa, or Happy Hanukkah, Happy Diwali. Diwali is kind of right near Christmas, I remember. But, or is it in November? You guys will have to tell me. But I remember it was when it was cold. And if there's any other holiday that I'm missing, you can let me know also in the comment bars. All right. Bye-bye.